And what is going on, guys? Welcome to actually another live stream review of a beautiful airport here on the Wrong Side Simulations channel. Can't get comfortable today. Yeah, so really excited about this one. This just got released yesterday. Hopefully y'all can hear me over the ground power unit that is plugged into the airplane right now. But yeah, so PACSIM released their Cleveland airport last night, and from looking at the screenshots, looks like the interior is modeled quite nicely. So really excited about this one. I have taken a little sneak peek so I could figure out how I wanted to do the stream. So if y'all want to see something cool, at least I find it cool. Look at this interior, y'all. This is pretty nice. I love how in fact, you know what, while we're doing this, let's get rid of my face so y'all can get a much better look. I love how the floor has PBR and has reflections. But even better than that, you can see through the glass in the ceiling. And we all know that Microsoft Flight Simulator provides one hell of a beautiful world to sim in. What better than to be able to see it from inside the terminal? So just based off of this, I would say I'd give it a pretty, this airport, I'd give the airport a pretty high rating. You gotta admit, it's pretty awesome when a developer models not just the outside of the airport, which I'm sure is a huge task in itself, but then to go inside the airport and place chairs and check-in, or not check-in counters, but you know, the gate podiums, signs. We are going to have some stutters, y'all. I'm running this in Ultra, and after Sim Update 6, I've had some performance impacts. Look at this. This is all custom. So I greatly appreciate the effort that these guys have done at, I'm trying to remember their full name, Island Pacific Simulations, I believe, something like that. I should probably know that if I'm going to be reviewing their scenery. We'll jump outside real quick. Now this is the only terminal I've seen that's got the glass portions of the roof. The rest of the terminals do not. Obviously, though, you can see through the glass of the terminals. But my favorite part of this, at least of the terminal, because there's a few exciting things in this airport scenery. I love this area, especially when the weather is sunny. It's really bright in here, and you can see the sky reflecting off the floor. Look at that, y'all. That's just... Now think back to like a little over a year ago. We'd be seeing stuff like this. PBR floor, tile that reflects the sky coming in through a glass roof. Now it's kind of turning out to be just a normal kind of thing, which is crazy, but I always love it whenever these guys go above and beyond. If I remember correctly, I believe this airport scenery was roughly $23, $24, which is probably on the higher side of the price range for scenery on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Thus far, just based off of what we've looked at so far, I would say it's worth it. Cleveland's a pretty big airport, has lots of departures every day. I think it's 170 or so departures. We got most airlines coming into here, as well as lots of GA, some military. So just with the size of the airport, along with the level of detail they've provided, on the inside, as well as you can see lots of detail on the outside. Now I would say though, just my attention to detail, these back hearts are a little incorrect. So as you see, this is how it's supposed to be, and the top would be solid. Top would actually look something like this, probably with no Delta logo. But if that's my only complaint so far, I think we're we don't really have much of anything to complain about. So let's move up here to this. Looks like, I'm pretty sure this is a ground control tower. Even got some modeling in here. Now I love internal modeling, especially for content creators, because it gives you a whole new point of view to incorporate into your streams. So now not only can you start your stream from inside the terminal looking out the window at your airplane, incorporating the airline you're flying, the sign on the wall, but now you can also you have the GPU still. You can do it from a tower perspective, which is pretty crazy. Got the de-icing pad right here. When it comes to de-icing in Microsoft Flight Simulator, one thing that I would love to see that I know another developer did for Prepared. Remember, it's a Toronto airport, and if the temperature was a certain range and you pulled in, you would actually have de-icers fire up and de-ice your airplane, which I thought was pretty daggum cool. I would like to see that same sort of thing for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, although, as we all know, there's lots of restrictions with the simulator that developers have to try to overcome, and I'm sure that would, or could be, a reason that we may never see that. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not a developer. I just do know there's a lot of restrictions or limitations because of the simulator itself. Got the FedEx ramp over here. Hopefully one day we'll have some realistic FedEx airplanes that we can fly. I would love to see a 7.5 in this simulator. That's my personal favorite airplane, is the 757. Now, one of my other favorite things in this scenery is there's a lot of hangar space. I think there's 3 hangars that you can go in and out of. This one, obviously being a smaller one, could be used for GA. And then over here we got this United hangar. It's a lot bigger. Got some texturing on the inside with some equipment in here. But the only thing that I think is lacking when it comes to the hangars is to make where you can start in here when you're at the map and you're selecting your departure point. I would like there to be a point inside the hangar where you can start from inside and still have the ability to push back. Yeah, I'm thinking have the airplane parked in here and use the toolbar pushback to push yourself out of the hangar. If you want to get real fancy with it, you could push out of the hangar and then get towed to the gate. Tow into the gate. Maybe do a little external view from inside the terminal if you're doing a live stream. I think I've done it once before in another stream of mine where I used the pushback toolbar to tow my aircraft to the gate using the external view, and it's almost as if passengers watching the airplane getting brought to the gate by maintenance or something like that. So I think you can get some pretty cool immersion, but it would make it a lot easier if you had a way to start inside the hangar. Because as of right now, as far as I know, I'd have to tow my airplane into the hangar and then go from there. So moving on along. Not really sure what this. Obviously, it's some sort of cargo ramp. So United over here. Maybe they have some cargo operations from here, where they can pack up cargo that's being shipped on United and take it over to the airplanes at the gate. And as you saw earlier, the tower is also modeled on the inside, much like the ground control tower. Across the way, I'm not real sure what's going on over here as far as like real life. It's like National Guard or what, but we've got some military aircraft, got 3 Ospreys and a couple Chinooks. So I'm sure there's some sort of military operations going on over here. Nice little Doppler radar tower. This NASA hangar. I'm also not sure what's going on with the NASA hangar. Maybe they fly T-38s out of here. I don't know. I don't know what NASA's got going on in Cleveland, but clearly they got something. And then got this beautiful custom UPS building. Definitely see myself running some live streams out of here. Maybe running the UPS 7.4. Starting from this area. Although pretty much all of my content is Airbus. I am a real Airbus dispatcher. So I think I kind of subconsciously focus on the Airbus since it's what I know the most of as far as realistic flows and SOPs and stuff like that. But I will be diversifying my content at some point in the future, probably when we get a more realistic Boeing of some sort, probably the PMDG 737, and obviously the Phoenix Airbus. When it comes out, we're going to be hammering down a lot on that airplane. Coming back over here towards the terminal area, we got the custom Sheraton Hotel. Look at this. I love when they got custom textures for a lot of these buildings. Got a parking garage. Check this out. It's pretty neat. Obviously they have this here in real life, and it's pretty cool to see them replicate stuff like that. And then on the inside, I'm sure this would be the ticketing area if we cannot be eaten. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in here. It's totally fine. Nobody's trying to virtually check in for their flight. Or would that be something people would do? Got a nice little view from inside of here. We'll come back out and find our airplane, and we'll get the stream going from inside the cockpit. We should walk to our airplane. Man, I just love. Man, we're having some real big stutters. Alright, here's our airplane today. I don't know what's going on with the jet bridges, but the jet bridges keep disconnecting here. I don't know what that's about. Today we're flying the beautiful Her Art livery. I think it's called Her Art here livery. Don't know, but what I do know is that this is a beautiful livery. I believe it is placed on 757s, or maybe they just have one. I'm not sure. Not the biggest follower of United, but I do like this livery, and it looks especially good on this Neo. I'm really digging the all-white nose, kind of metallic turquoise there. It's real pretty. So if the livery painter of this livery watches this, I appreciate your hard work. Very good looking airplane, or good looking livery, and I'm sure I'll be flying it plenty. Alright, so let's jump inside the cockpit and let's get this thing rolling. Alright, so as you can see, we are in cold and dark, and we'll get this thing fired up and get underway. We're going to roll pretty fast. I've been getting a lot of feedback from some of my viewers that they really like a lot of the narrating and the explanations of what and why, checklist and flows and that kind of thing. So we'll run quick, but I'll say what I'm doing, and if there's anything special, then we'll hit on it. So obviously with the ADIRs, we're gonna get those aligned. Got IR1. Wait for the on-bat. And I'm not sure. I've seen some folks. Seems like they don't catch this, but you got IR1, and then 2, and then 3. I've seen some people that go IR1, IR2, IR3. But obviously, as you can see, that's not the case. If we're just trying to be you know, technical. Waiting for that on-bat. There it is. And now it's extinguished. We can continue with the rest of our flows. We'll go cruise supply, ground control, CBR test. Nice. Nav lights. We're going to leave seatbelt sign off because we don't have our fuel yet. No smoking sign. Arm the emergency lights. Turn on a little AC, and from there we are good with that setup. Now we can do some tests. We'll go with the APU test first. Checks out. Engine 1. And then we'll go number 2. TCAS to auto, like my threats on all, and we're good there. Now we'll initialize, and again, I've said this in my last stream, but for everybody to pay close attention to, if you pull all your data to the airplane from Debrief, double check your zero fuel weights. Zero fuel weights have been 10 to 11,000 pounds more than planned, which is pretty drastic. So if you have this issue, you probably want to increase your fuel 500 to 1,000 pounds. So let's see, init data request. Today we are United Flight 2541, service from Cleveland over to St. Louis with an estimated time en route of 1 hour and 9 minutes. Don't believe that United runs this flight in real life, but I did want to go to St. Louis because for a long time now I've been trying to do a review and a look at real world sceneries, St. Louis Airport, and I've been trying this for a long while now, and it has not worked. It's almost like every time I try to stream to St. Louis, the stream is cursed. So fingers crossed that doesn't happen this time. Let's go ahead and get an ATIS for Cleveland. Shoot that off. We'll come down to the weight and balance. Now, planned fuel today is 13,037 pounds, so this is correct. All this is correct. The fuel has never been wrong coming from Debrief. But what I do want to look at first before we put the fuel on is we're going to send for the OFP request. Now, this shows our zero fuel weight as 124.5, and my planned zero fuel weight is 121. Actually, it's going to be 122 even. So, a little bit heavier, not much. Based off of what we do at my airline, this would trip what we call a zero fuel weight reset. So the dispatcher would have to reset the zero fuel weight to the actual zero fuel weight that's on the airplane. It's kind of a fail-safe thing that we do. That way, we're all aware of what the zero fuel weight is, and we're not going to be taking off too heavy, and it's a bunch of stuff. But anyways, not getting too deep into the technicals of that. So I have an extra 1,000 pounds of fuel on, so we'll just we'll leave it as that. 2,500 pounds isn't too terribly much. Alright, so we got that. We got our company message, so our Addons is ready. I'll print that. Alright, now we'll start our flow with diff strip. I can never say that the first time, ever. So the D is data. We'll go to aircraft status, make sure that our nav database is current, and it is. Then the I is for init. Excuse me. We will initialize just using Debrief. We are a little bit late today, so I'm running at cost index 99. And again, United Flight 2541, Cleveland, St. Louis, cost index 99, and our final cruise altitude is 34,000 feet. So that checks out. Next, we'll go to flight plan. Cleveland departure. Let's see what we're departing off of today. 6 left. And we will be on the Zappa 5 departure. And the snow transition. Insert that. Get rid of this user fix. Insert. Now for St. Louis, the last status I looked at, they were landing on 30 right. We are planning on the Arch 2 arrival. We'll take the whatever that was, transition onto the approach, and then VHP as our transition onto the arrival. So of course we got to do it again because it never does it the first time, and then boom, there it is. Insert. I like it. Just rolling through, checking our points. The thing we'll do is we will just check our flight plan this way, make sure there's nothing, no crazy loops, nothing stupid going on. And then also, what you would like to do if you have time, at least for a sim stream, or if you're just casually simming, you want to go take your detailed flight plan on your OFP from Debrief and cross-check every fix on there with every fix in the McDo. Make sure that you have them all. Okay. So now that that's done, we'll go to secondary flight plan. Can't do anything with that yet. RadNav. We'll hard tune some VORs. I believe Cleveland's got one, and I know St. Louis has one as well. In the real airplane, it would do, you just do auto and it'll track the closest one. Alright, so now we'll go back up to init and go to the init B page, or I think this is also called like the init fuel prediction page, something like that. There's also, I think, is a replica of this. Yeah, so we'll just drop our So something else to obviously pay attention to now that I'm looking at it. This says a zero fuel weight is 102.0, which is, oh, I know why. I didn't board. I did not board the aircraft. So, AOC menu. I'm sure people who watch this on the playback will be screaming at me. Alright, start boarding. Cool. So 124.5. So it's going to do, we'll just wait for the boarding to be complete, which is actually what you would do in real life. But you'd put in your, in real life you'd put in your planned zero fuel weight and your planned block fuel, finish programming the airplane, and then the ground crew would bring up your cargo load report to you, and then that would, you'd put those numbers in, shoot off a request to Aerodata, and it'll come back and it'll tell you your actual zero fuel weight based off of your passengers by zone. There'll be adults, children, and then infants are included with adults, and then bags by compartment between standard, heavy, and freight is also separate. They put all that in along with all the, like the runway they're taking off of, and if there's any contamination, or if it's wet, or barometric pressure, wind, temperature, all that stuff. Give you your performance back, and that'll give you, that will give you your zero fuel weight, and everything should go back in here and change. So imagine it's done. It's still not done. Also, something else as a little side note while we're waiting, I am testing out this interactive pushback audio as well as the simulate nose wheel lift. I can see it. Trying these out today to see what it does. I did try the nose wheel lift one time, and it was pretty excessive, and just from an external view it was way too high, but I think from the inside of the airplane you get a good sense of the airplane being lifted onto the pushback. So we are going to run that today. We'll give that a shot. You'll hear some extra sounds that you may not have heard before, because I'm hearing them for the first time today. Hearing these tugs, catering truck, ground power. Also, we got another airplane somewhere that's really loud and obnoxious. Cool, so this should be done. It is. So we got our zero fuel weight of 124.5 with a zero fuel weight CG of 24.5. Our block fuel is 13.0. Taxi fuel, call 200. The trip fuel's in there. Route reserve is 3.4. I usually don't like to mess with these numbers because it never seems to add up or be right. Plus, you can't upload the wins either, which is obviously a problem. Let's see, 3.4. Alright. So this will just tell me my extra fuel. See if I can't maybe put some sort of a wind in there. Let's call it a, winds definitely get stronger the further we go. Let's call it a 35 knot headwind. So that's done. Let's go back to init. Let's try this. You can't get winds for the climb. Cruise wind We're just going to put in the general. I'm going to put in the highest one I see, which is 184 at 50. And that's at 340. Alright, I like that. Let's see what we get on the fuel prediction. Extra, we got 3,600 pounds of extra fuel on top of our reserve of 3.4. Estimated fuel on board at arrival 7,000 pounds. OFP says, and it's probably going to be way off. OFP says we're landing with 5.8. So, I'm sure these winds were not going to help us out. If anything, it's probably going to make it a little more inaccurate. Alright, so the McDo is set up. Actually, no, it's not. We're relatively light today. We'll go flaps 1. Flex of 68. Transition altitude 18,000 feet. And we get our V speeds. Cool. Alright, so flight directors are on. Constraints, come on. Turn the VORs on. Now let's refer to our ADAS printout. Info November 1751Z. Wind 030 at 11, 10 statute miles. Few at 2200, scattered 2900. We got temperature of 23, temperature or dew points 18, and altimeter is 30, 18. Departing runway 6 left, runway 6 right, 24 left is closed. That's good to know. Cool. So 3018 is the altimeter. And then we'll set the standby as well. I'll probably skip it, but that's closer. Okay. Donezo. Setup is pretty much done. Turn our seatbelt sign on now. And we're going to start the APU. Looking for our flap open message. And let's see, aircraft. Get all that stuff shut and closed, ready to go. Waiting on the APU to come on. And then we're going to run our 3-minute timer for the APU warm-up. So then we can then start or turn on the bleed for our engine start. You can hear the cool little beeping out there. I don't know why I keep getting Spirit airplane or Spirit cups in my non-Spirit airplanes. Alright, so APU is available. Sweet, so we'll turn on the chrono. Disconnect ground power. Pull the power. See it moving out there somewhere. It goes, it's rolling away. Okay. So now while we're waiting on this 3-minute warm-up, let's do a departure brief. So we are over here parked at gate 22 in this area. And we're going to be departing off of runway 6 left today. So it's going to be a little bit of a taxi. We might do a single engine taxi to start and then start the second one just to conserve fuel. So we'll push back from the gate. We'll take Kilo to Lima to Tango, cross 6 right, and then Golf to Golf 1, short of 6 left. I would assume that's what taxi instructions we would be getting if we were on PACSIM today. Let's see, 6 left. Visibility is not an issue. Weather's good, so I'm not too concerned. But we do have high intensity runway lights, centerline lights if we needed it. The runway is grooved, and we've got 7,964 feet of usable runway to depart on. The runway is 150 feet wide, so it's not narrow runway operations. And again, weather is not a factor. Runway is not contaminated. It's nice and dry. And terrain is not a factor. For our departure on the Zappa 5, off 6 left, we'll climb on heading to 58 degrees to intercept course of 9 degrees to cross Edmond at or above 2,000 and at or below 240 knots. Then on track 318 degrees to Fitz, then on track 250 degrees to cross Dina at or above 8,000, then on track 235 to cross Moham at or above 9,000. Our top altitude is 14,000, so we'll throw that in here. And any issues before V1, we'll stop on the runway, assess the problem there, and then after V1 we'll go flying and handle that problem airborne. Also, my disclaimer, I don't know what's causing it. My last couple of streams I've had issues. As soon as we cross 10,000 feet, master warning goes off for cabin pressure. I'm pretty sure it's a glitch because I've never done anything different and it's always worked. The pressurization system is automatic, so we'll see what happens when we cross 10,000 feet. So we've got our 3 minutes. We can turn the bleed on, turn the fuel pumps on, beacon on. We'll pull the jetway. Looking for the door to close. It is closed. Now that the main cabin door is closed, we'll shut and lock the cockpit door. And now we can do our before start checklist. Before start checklist, maintenance log and tail is on board and checked.
Cockpit to ground.
This is ground. Stand by.
Cool. Man, cockpit prep's complete. Gear pins, covers removed. Signs on auto. ADIRS, nav, fuel. Our min required fuel is 11.6, and we've got 13 on board. Altimeters 3018 set. EFP's checked. Windows, doors, slides, closed, and arms. Beacons on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on, and transponders auto. Before start checklist is complete.
Okay, sir. The bypass pin is installed. All doors and hatches closed, and all ground equipment is removed.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a lift.
Standing by for pushback.
Especially for an Airbus. We go looking outside. It looks a little better. The last time I looked at it, it looked like the wheels were higher than the wheels of the tug. As you can tell, the jet bridges for this PACSIM Cleveland Airport are the generic simulator jet bridges connected to like, for example, as you can see, these are clearly different from these. So you got these little extensions with the generic jet bridges. I don't know if that's part of the problem. When I did a little test before jumping on the stream. Put the airplane at Charlie 23, and the jet bridge initially reached the airplane, but then it wouldn't. Then it backed off, just like what we just saw ours do. So something's up with the jet bridges. I wish they would do custom jet bridges, but from my understanding, with the limitations of the simulator, that's pretty hard to do. So, alright, parking brakes released. Let's get going.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
Have a great window over here. There we go, that'll work. We'll start the timer for our block time. We've been cleared to start. Engine mode selected to normal, and we'll start engine 1. Man, it's such a pretty airplane. Set park brakes.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Ground. Startup is complete. You may disconnect.
Roger. Good engine start. Cleared to disconnect. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
Alright, so we got a good start on number 1. Trying to do some more cinematic shots than just staying inside the cockpit like I'm pretty bad at doing. Alright, so we got N2 rising, looking for N1 at 20%. There's 20% N2. We got rotation on the N1. Start seeing that fan spin in just a second. There it goes. Alright, good start on engine number 2. Now we'll go with the after start flow. Engine mode selected to normal. On the spoilers. Reset rudder trim. Flaps 1. TCAS to TA. I'm going to go 24.5% on the trim. Be 2 engine taxi. So if you come on. After start checklist. Engine anti-ice is off. Yellow electric pumps off. Rudder trim 0. After start checklist complete. Alright, release the parking brake. We'll start a roll and do a brake pressure check. And pressure is green. There we go. We're out of here. Got some raindrops. left, clear right. And again, guys, expect some stutters. For the next stream, we'll have to turn the graphics down a little bit to high, so we can hopefully avoid those. I'm going to run a 3-minute timer for the engine warm-up. Should have done that as soon as engine 2 became available, but I forgot. But better late than never. And we'll get rid of my face. Just enjoy this awesome scenery. If we added de-ice, we would make a hard left and turn to there and get de-iced. Hopefully when GSX comes around, the de-icing will be something we can do. I just went on a nice straightaway, so we'll go ahead and do our flight controls check. Got full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral. Slow down a little bit, we'll go full left, and full right, neutral. Get us a gear up shot using that one. Alright, now the flight controls check is complete. Do the before takeoff flow. So weather radar comes on, predictive wind shear. TAR rate on the TCAS. Auto brake max. Check the status page, make sure it's normal. TO config. We'll wait and ding the flight since we get a little bit closer to the runway. So the next taxiway we'll be looking for is going to be taxiway Tango down here towards the end of Lima. We'll cross 6 right. Golf 2, Golf 1, 6 left. There's a 3-minute warm-up. So the engines are good and warm. I believe for Neo that could actually take a little bit longer. When you hit your takeoff config, if your temperatures weren't warm enough, it would ding you and let you know, or if you stood up the thrust levers, I believe it would also let you know then as well. Alright, here's Tango. And we'll turn all the lights on. Now if the runway's closed and inactive, I don't know if you'd have to turn them on or not, but it's not a bad habit. So we're clear left, clear down the closed runway. Got a pretty little rainbow out there. Wouldn't it be crazy if real life NOTAMs applied in Microsoft Flight Simulator? It's like if this runway was closed, none of the lights would be on, and it'd have a big old X out there. Then you'd really have to pay attention when you're doing PACSIM. If they go based off the NOTAMs, make things a little more challenging. Clear that runway. Turn those lights back off. Alright, so now, before takeoff, checklist all the way. Gross weight comparison complete, pitch trim 24.5% CG set. V1, VR, V2 flex, 129, 130, 134 flex, 68. Flaps config 1 plus F. Flight instruments checked, flight controls checked.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
ECAM memo, takeoff all green. ECAM status check, predicted wind shears on auto. TCAS code set TRA, cabin crews advised. Main brakes complete. Takeoff runway is 6 left, confirmed. Fuel, our required fuel is 11.6 and we have 12.8 on board. Engine mode selector is normal. Bleed packs are set. Before takeoff checklist all the way is complete. Look clear on the approach. Clear down the runway. Let's get out of here. Throttle up to 50%, looking for 50% thrust. Or symmetrical thrust. Got it. Going to flex. Man, flex, SRS runway, auto thrust blue. knots thrust set. Technically not supposed to start that turn until about 400 feet, or whatever the SID says to do. Just maintaining those flight vectors. There's acceleration altitude, get a positive trend on the airspeed. And we'll go thrust climb. Climb. Let's go open climb. There aren't some visible moisture, but temperatures plenty warm, so not in icy conditions. Above S speed, go flaps up. The other thing that's hurting my performance pretty good is I've got the terrain level of detail, or actually not that, what is it, like the texture resolution set up to almost 200. got a pretty significant impact on performance. While we're turning, we'll kill the nose lights and the turn off lights. Keeping that square on the flight directors. Take us right where we need to go. So 1,000 feet until ding the flight attendants turn those landing lights off. I have to change that texture things. Stutter every 10 seconds, ain't cool. Alright, there's 10,000 feet. Nose down to accelerate cruise speed. Go autopilot 1. It looks like the cabin pressure is holding up. Not getting any master warnings this time. And we just got cleared up to flight level 240. Thrust climb, open climb. Change these settings real quick. Try to get rid of some of those stutters. See if that helps any. Probably not. Clouds already don't look as good. Short flight today. OFP showing 1 hour and 9 minutes. Should burn roughly 6.8, 6,800 pounds of fuel on just our trip burn. Of course, we'll be doing our routine fuel checks while we're en route, comparing our fuel on board with the OFP while we're en route. So here comes transition altitude, full standard, and hit standby as well. Got plenty of rain showers below us. That's one of the things I was most excited about when Microsoft 2020 was coming out, was we're going to have actual rain shafts. seen some advertisements before with different weather engines prepared that would show rain shafts, but never really saw them. And if you saw something that looked like one, you'd fly through it, nothing would happen, wouldn't get any bumps, wouldn't get any rain on the windshield, nothing. On this one, obviously you can see plenty of rain shafts, but I have had, it's like 50-50, I'll fly through one and get some rain on the windscreen. Other times I'll fly through them and nothing happens. Alright, so we are about to cross Mohom. Let's see what our paperwork's looking like. At Mohom, we're supposed to have 11.4. Remember, we are 2,500 pounds heavier than planned and did not take any extra gas. We got speed, alt star, and we just got cleared up to our final cruise at 34,000 feet. Thrust climb, open climb. Alright, so fuel on board now is 10.8. We're supposed to have 11.4. So we are right now overburning by about 500 pounds. We'll see how that continues to play out while en route. I did throw an extra 1,000 pounds of fuel, so that's why I didn't add any extra gas. Figured that extra fuel could absorb it. Plus, we're also carrying another 15 minutes of extra fuel. It's just our policy fuel. As of right now, we talked about cost index earlier, and I said that we're going to fly CI 99 because we're a little bit late. CI, or cost index, is not modeled in the fly-by-wire. That's one thing I'm looking forward to with what's her name? Phoenix 320. I'm looking forward to model cost index. So for those of you who don't know, cost index is a way to, actually it does a few different things. It's a way to save fuel. It's a way to manage your en route time. There's a couple reasons why you might want to do that. So say you're en route, dispatch hits you up and says, hey, ops at your destination just called and you're not going to have a gate available when you get there, so fly CI 0, which means you're going to fly slower, and that will give them more time to get that aircraft that's in your gate out of the way and shorten the amount of time that you're sitting on the ground waiting. You know, when you're flying, you got passengers in the back, you know, they're flying. Obviously people are like watching their clocks and kind of figuring out maybe when about they're going to get there. But you know, if you're flying, people are content, I guess. You know, they got their videos and whatever to occupy themselves. But once you land, you know, passengers are ready to get off the airplane. So if you have to sit and wait longer for a gate, the time you could just be flying, probably making things a little better for the passengers. So we'll use cost index a lot to manage situations like that. If, say, like weather is rolling in and I don't think that the flight is going to beat the weather in, I'll tell them, hey, fly CI 0, fly slow, give the weather more time to push through the field, and it's also going to reduce the fuel burn, which gives us more fuel that if you know, they get there and the weather's still over the field and they need to hold, they have more fuel to hold with. If I think maybe flying faster is the better option and we can actually beat the weather in, I'll tell them, hey guys, fly CI-99. Yeah, we're going to burn a little bit of extra gas, but if I'm very confident we'll get there before the weather, then that's okay, and they can fly faster and get there quicker. But obviously, if you haven't gathered from what I've been saying, then CI0 is slow, and the bigger the number, the faster it is. Typically, airlines are going to plan, probably on average, CI20, CI30. It really has to depend a lot with the en route time, if the flight's delayed. All airlines are trying to meet what's called the A14s, their on-time performance factor with the Department of Transportation. When airlines do really good at being on time, they can publicize that, like, oh look, you know, we're the most on-time airline, da da da. So they always try to stay within that A14, which is arriving, if I remember correctly, arriving 14 minutes from your scheduled time of arrival. So say if you got some stronger headwinds than normal and you're flying west, then you might have to fly a little bit faster to make up some time so that you're meeting that A14 goal. So that's another tactic. Is a lot of times the cost index will be optimized based off of the en route time as well as the fuel burns, trying to make it as the flight go as fast as possible while also taking fuel burns into consideration. But typically, at least at my company, depending on what has been happening with the operation, if we've been having like some bad weather and a lot of our operation is behind, then we'll just plan everything CI-99, try to get as much flights to land on time as possible. Stuff like that. It's a scenario or a situation by situation tactic that we use. So anyway, CI0 or cost index is basically flying faster or slower, and it gives you, you can either prioritize your en route time or prioritize your fuel load. So a lot of times when planning a flight, if your flight is landing, or say it's taking off too heavy, you're exceeding your max takeoff weight, then a lot of times you can plan CI0, which means you're going to fly slower and your en route time is going to be longer, but you're burning less gas. The less gas you're going to burn is the less gas you have to take. Therefore, you can get a little bit more weight off of that takeoff weight. So it's another thing that CI can help you with. It's cost index is something that pretty much, as far as I know, every single, at least major carrier uses. Some aircraft may not be able to utilize it. At my last company, our aircraft didn't have a cost index function, but it did have like long-range cruise that we could plan, or we would plan at Mach 0.72 or Mach 0.70. So instead of doing cost index, we were just basically planning a speed. So we got Mach Alt Star just about at our cruise. And pretty soon you'll see this switch to cruise. Now the aircraft knows that we are in cruise phase of flight. So we're getting ready to cross yellow in 10 miles. We're going to do a fuel check there, and if our fuel's looking a little bit better, then we'll go into selected speed. As of right now we're in managed speed, we'll go to selected speed and fly faster. We'll burn a little bit more gas, but if we're looking better on the fuel burn here, then I'd feel comfortable burning that extra gas. We're not anticipating any weather in St. Louis, at least the last that I looked. Pull that forecast real quick. Hopefully this little background music's not too loud. It's the first time trying out some background music today. We'll see how it turns out. We'll watch it on the playback. Alright, so we are crossing YOLO. At YOLO, we're supposed to have 9.4. We have... God, I can't hit the right button with shit today. 9.6. Alright, so our burns have corrected. We are now under burning. So with that result, let's look at St. Louis's weather real quick. Make sure there's no thunderstorms forecast. There are some rain showers, not too terribly far away. So depending on what fronts are out there, I forgot it's not going to be a TAF. It's going to be METAR. Pull the TAF or not out of here. Don't think so. So right now, winds are variable. 10 statute miles broken at 2,400, broken 7,000, broken 25,000. Temperature 23, dew point 16, and altimeter 3013. There's no indications of bad weather there. I'm just going to pull up weather on aviationweather.gov. You can pull a TAF from the real aircraft. Alright, now so the weather looks good. So we will speed this up. We'll get right up on that red line. Weather looks pretty good out ahead of us. Looks like we're on top of pretty much everything. So I don't anticipate any weather deviations, which would require more fuel. That's a big part of flying airliners is fuel management, managing your fuel, staying a step ahead of the airplane, and anticipating any constraints that may burn more gas, especially if you're planning on a situation like this where mid-flight we're going to go from a slower speed to a higher speed, which is going to burn more gas. Alright, so we are at our selected speed now. Our next fuel check will be in 100 miles. So that'll give us a good idea what our burns are going to be doing. We plan for a headwind as far as our fuel prediction inside the McDo. Right now we've got a 3-knot tailwind, so that's good news. Looks really good on the Airbus. Still getting some stutters. Guys, so real quick, I'm gonna go get a glass of ice. I have neglected my espresso mocha from Black Rifle Coffee. Usually these goes down really fast. If you like high quality coffee, check out Black Rifle Coffee. They're an awesome company, awesome guys. They do a lot of good things for some really great people, and their coffee is just damn near untouchable. So check them out if you like some good coffee. But for right now, I'm gonna go grab a glass and some ice to pour this on so I can get it cooled back off, and we'll be right back with y'all. And we are back. Ryan back. Got my espresso mocha. That way I'll be fully caffeinated and awake to hopefully butter this landing. So let's see where we are at. 35 miles from snow. And that's where we'll do our next fuel check. See how our fuel is looking with the increased speed. So, not sure if I talked about it much earlier, but today is actually going to be a little 2-in-1 review stream. Obviously, we're flying to St. Louis, and we're going to be taking a look at real-world sceneries, St. Louis Airport. I've flown into there a few times on the sim, and like I was saying earlier, it's like every time I try to go to St. Louis, it's like my stream is cursed. And that's not because of the scenery. I was having computer issues a couple months ago, so all that has been sorted out. I've flown into it before. Not sure. I think I remember the few times I've flown in there, it seemed like it was kind of hit my performance a little bit. The download was pretty big. It was like 3 or 4 gigabytes for an airport. That's pretty high. But my first dispatch job was out of St. Louis. I was based in St. Louis for 2 years. Pretty familiar with the airport and the area. So it's always fun to fly back into St. Louis virtually. That was my home for a couple years, and I loved it up there. It was a great time, a lot of great people, a lot of great co-workers, and some fun things to do up there. So we'll be taking a look at that airport, do a little review on it as well. It's not as detailed, or it doesn't have the interior modeling like PACSIM Cleveland that we just left us. But nonetheless, it's still worth a look at. If anybody's interested in the St. Louis airport. I don't know about y'all, but for me, any big U.S. airport, or even like a regional airport that has a lot of scheduled air carrier operations in and out of, I typically buy those. It's my kind of forte. A lot of folks are into the GA stuff. For me, I'm all about the airliners, and any U.S. airport or Canadian airport that's relatively large in size, I'll like to buy those and fly into those types of airports. Oh, let's see, we're not too far now. We are 8 miles from snow. So at snow, we are supposed to have 8,000 on board, and we have 8.3. So we're still looking good on the fuel. We've probably found a pretty good balance between fuel burn and speed with this extra 2,500 pounds that we're carrying on the zero fuel weight. We've been out the gate now for 43 minutes. It took us about 10 minutes to get off the ground, so we've been airborne for roughly 33 minutes. It's a little over an hour-long flight, so we are roughly halfway there now. This traffic here, there not going to be any factor. See them out there. I believe that's them. Yep. We might be getting into some tops down the road a little bit. These guys are a couple thousand feet above, looks like, crossovers. There we go. Couldn't tell who that was. All the stutters. I hate having stutters. I got a pretty beefy machine, so stutters piss me off. Running a RTX 3080, Intel i7, 64 gigs of RAM. I think it would run smooth. Alright, so let's see. We are 212 miles out on our planned route. If you want to look at a straight line, we do KSTL, and then our runway that we're planning on, which is going to be 30 right. We are 199 miles in a straight line to the threshold of the runway. When we get a little bit closer, we'll do our approach briefing and then start our way down. Right now it's 1944 Zulu. Saying we should be there by 2010. It's about 25 minutes. I think it's going to be a little bit longer than that. No, actually, shouldn't be. It's going to be mostly a straight in for us. I was thinking we're going to have to swing around to the 12s, which we have to fly the downwind and then turn base and all that stuff, but we're not going to have to do that today. We're actually going to be on the Arch 2, which will bring us near, if not over, St. Louis, like downtown St. Louis over the Arch, so we'll get a good look at that. Checking out all of our systems, make sure everything is looking good. I could just this button roll through them instead of having to do one by one. Yeah. Alright, so let's go ahead and do our approach brief. So we're coming in on the Arch 2 on the Brickyard transition. I'm not going to try to meet all these crossing constraints. It's way too much when you don't have any kind of VNAV. We're going to be using vertical speed as our way of descending today. But yeah, so we'll be coming down this way. We'll should hit Petty. A lot of times all of these aren't in the McDo. And we'll come down this way to approach the airport from the southeast. Alright, so from Petty we'll be on track 226 degrees to Scott, then to Eads, Oshie, and FEDCO. Then via assigned instrument approach procedure, if approach clearance is not received by FEDCO, track via 226, expect radar vectors final approach course. Cool. We will be planning the ILS, or planning for the ILS runway 30 right. Frequency is 111.3. Final approach course is 303 degrees. Our final approach fix is really, whatever, at 2,100 feet. MSL, which is 1495 AGL. Touchdown zone elevation is 605 feet. If we go missed, we'll climb to 1,020 feet and then climb a right turn to 3,000. From there, we will just swing it back around, fly the downwind, and turn back to base and try again. We're not going to do this whole direct to the Troy VOR. Let's see, it is a standard 3-degree glide slope. We have approach lights with Pappy on the right. If we go miss, we'll climb to 1,020 feet and then climbing right turn to 3,000 and we'll try again. Our minimums, we got good weather, so we're planning the Cat 1, looking at 200-foot decision height and half-mile viz. The current weather and the forecasted weather, we won't have any issues with those. Next, looking at our runway diagram. Coming in on 30 right. We have the full length to use. We've got high intensity runway lights, centerline lights, and then again we've got approach lights. Touchdown zone, Pappy on the right side. It's a 3-degree glide slope that we talked about. It is grooved and it's 150 feet wide, so it's not narrow runway operations. Have 9,003 feet of dry usable runway, and I have been having, in the last couple streams I've done, we've had issues with, like when I use auto brakes, it stops. Like I'll be using auto brake low and it's stopping as if it's using like max. Like it stops so fast. So I'm not going to use any auto. Actually, we'll use the auto brake today just to see what it does. Maybe there was an issue that arose and maybe fly-by-wires corrected it. So we'll go auto brakes low, and we're going to plan to exit at the high-speed Echo 2, and we'll cross 30 left, 12 right into the ramp. I believe United Park's down on this end. I'm not sure. At least I think that's what it was whenever I was living there. So weather's not a factor. Terrain is not a factor. And I believe that should be it. So we'll bring this Arch 2 back up. Since it's an ILS, we'll go ahead and arm our ILS push buttons. Auto brake low. Let's check and make sure that frequency's in there. It is. So now let's put in some arrival information. So the QNH is 3013. Temperature is 23. Wind is variable at 5, so we'll just put calm. Transition altitude 18,000 feet. And then our minimums are 200 feet. And to be on the fancy side of the day, we'll land config 3. Alright, we're getting into some visible moisture. It is cold, so we'll turn the engine anti-ice on. And 148 miles left to go. We'll start our descent about 100 and we'll start 120 miles out. Mason jars are not very good to drink out of. little twisty lips make it tough. Like it wants to get all over your lips. And like me, you got facial hair, you get on your mustache. But this is my first time drinking this espresso mocha on ice. I usually like to just drink it cold straight out of the can. It's pretty good. It waters it down just a tad bit, but nonetheless, really good. Just wish they didn't have his daggone lips in the mason jar. Got this mason jar from a place called The Yard in Gulf Shores, Alabama. It's like an ice cream place. So, you know, if anybody that works at The Yard watches this, maybe don't with the lips. Get you some mason jars that ain't got no lips or threads. First world problems, I know. So I think tomorrow I'll reach out to my good friend Rio, who's also one of my coworkers, is a dispatcher with me. Big flight simmer as well. He just created his new channel. I believe it's Flaps. His channel name is Flaps 120 or 151. Let me see. His channel name is Flaps 121. So go check him out. He is just started. Him and I are working together to get his get all of his content and audio and everything squared away. So it'll probably be a few streams or a few videos to get everything where it needs to be. If any of y'all do this live streaming stuff, I've learned that it's by far a huge learning curve. So we're working to get his stuff squared away. But I think tomorrow, him and I will probably do a shared cockpit flight. And I'm thinking we'll do Rio, or we'll do Reno with Rio to Vegas. When I was buying the Cleveland airport last night, realized that PACSIM also had Reno, and I knew they did. I saw it on FS Elite, but I was at work, a commute to work, and forgot about it once I got home. So I bought that as well last night, and it'll be a little bit late, but I think we'll do a shared cockpit stream / review on that one tomorrow. That should be a lot of fun, as long as he's not too busy. Me, I don't want that. Alright, let's see where we're at. 119 miles, a little late. Let's get her on down. Start down at 2,200 feet per minute. Come down to 11,000. I'll go 275 on the speed. Pull up our chart. So we're supposed to hit arch 280 knots, 11,000 feet. We're starting a little bit late, so let's expedite. Let's do open descent. Ground down as fast as we can. This is actually my first time doing open descent, because I've never really trusted it too much. And there was some turbulence. I'll turn the seatbelt sign on. Bring the boards out. try one other thing to see if we can't. I don't know. I've always like I never really leave the cockpit, especially if I'm flying by myself, not doing a stream. But so I always like to have my refresh high because I want to see this stuff move the way it's supposed to. But even at medium, it looks like it's doing that. Coming down pretty quick. It's about 3,300 feet per minute. The chart calls for 280 knots, so we'll have to slam the speed brakes on those last 1,000 feet. Have to level off, bleed it off, and then start our way back down. The chart shows where I'm thinking downtown's right about over here, so we should go right over downtown, I believe. Shift. So looking at the overlay, shows we're going to arrive in St. Louis at 2012 Zulu. This is showing 2013. So I wonder which one's going to be right. Granted, the overlay is looking at our current speed versus the McDo. It's somewhat analyzing with sorta speed restrictions, I guess. I think it's got something in there. Alright, arch 12 miles, probably not going to be at 11,000 feet. We got plenty of room. I mean, shit, we're 60 miles from being like on final, so we've got a total of 79 miles left on the route. So we got plenty of time to come down. I don't know why I want you down so fast. So the latest weather that we have is at 1851Z. It's a little bit old. We're going to go with what altimeter it gave us, 3013. And we're going to shoot off for a new one, just so we have the most current. And then once we get that, we'll do our approach checklist. Wait for the company message. There it is. Alright, so weather is 1951Z. Winds of variable at 5 knots, 10 second miles, scattered 4,100, broken 7,000, broken 25,000, temperatures 23, dew point 16, altimeter's 30, 12. So not much of a difference. We'll leave that one the same, so just skip right over it. Alright. Let's see, approach checklist. Briefing is complete. Approach stable by 1,000 feet. ECAM status is checked. Seatbelts on. Minimum's 200 set. Engine anti-ice 1 and 2 are off. Altimeter's 30, 12 set. Approach checklist is complete. The chart says, yeah, it's cutting out a lot of fixes. So you got Petty, and then you're supposed to have Scott, Eads, Oshie, Federico, whatever. All that's missing. This little area here. So see Oshie at 10. 200 knots. I just don't want to get low and go slow forever. So I think what we'll do is we'll maintain 10,000 to 180 knots until Crya, and then we'll slam on the brakes. Try to anyway. Star. As we get into these clouds, we might be in icing conditions. Halt. We're going to hold here 10,100 feet. Maintain our 280 knots until Crya. Really weird. We got Crya as our next waypoint, but it's saying Tyrish. I don't know if that's on the plate. Well, that's half the problem right there. It's going down the wrong way. This is why you got to cross-check every one of your waypoints, because now we're going the wrong direction. That's okay, because we're going to turn in just a second. Alright, so there's Crya. Let's bring the speed down to 250. Actually, I think the chart said 240. No, it did not. That was definitely on the departure. Here. And then once we slow down, bring it down to 5,000 at Tyrish. 10,000 Hixum. Of course, we'll probably go, and we're going to leave our, last stream, I tried to do some little shortcuts, and it screwed up the route, so we'll just fly the whole route. So we got 25 miles. And there's 10,000 feet. Landing lights come on, wing lights come on, and ding the flight tickets. So our static air temperature is 4 degrees Celsius. If you have 10 degrees Celsius or below with visible moisture, that's icing conditions, which we have. So we're going to turn this on. So we're going to skim through this stuff. Or maybe graze right over the top of it. Let's get down early so we can catch a glimpse of downtown St. Louis. Some traffic ahead, 1,600 feet above. Definitely getting lower than them pretty quick. So I can finally get eyes on the traffic. At hour 10, 11 o'clock. Far enough that it's not drawing the airplane yet. Now they are off into gas. So we're still in icy conditions. Temperature. Now it's 10 degrees. I don't see any more clouds ahead of us on this little thing here. We ain't worried about that. So turn these back off. Shallow out our descent. Picking up a little bit of speed. See downtown St. Louis off in the distance. And we got Alt-Star. Go direct XL on down to 3,000. a spoiler to help get us back down. Do it again, so it's kind of going to fly all the way back to the line that it drew. Hot star. So now that we're going to be at 3000 in XL, we should be able to be under the glide slope, capture it, and ride it down. 13-mile final. To level off, we'll have to slow down. Leave this airspeed off pretty quick. Go. Slow down a little bit more. 190.
2,500.
Track the spoilers and we'll go flaps 1. We're going to arm the approach.
2,500.
Perfect page is already activated.
2,500.
Got low star. We're below flap 2 speed. We'll go flaps 2. We'll stay 170 to 7 miles.
$2,500.
Locust captured. Glide slope star. Glide slope's captured. At glide slope, localizer, cat 3 dual, autopilot 1 and 2. At 8 miles, or at 7 miles, we'll go manual speed. This approach altitude is 3,000, it's already set. Come 7 miles, we'll go managed. Gear down. Arm the spoilers. Flaps 3. And flaps 4. Advise the flight attendants. We've been cleared to land.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Alright, landing checklist. Cabin crews advise. Auto thrust speed. Auto brakes, low. ECMMO landings all green. Gear, down, signs on auto. Ground spoilers, armed. Flaps, config 3. Landing checklist is complete. Yes. Oh, that's right. Ooh, I'm good. Wow. Even ran the checklist. See? That's what happens when you get habits. There's 1,000 feet. We're stable. My airplane.
$500.
Not sure how much I trust this ILS.
$500.
We're right on the ILS, on the PFD, but yeah, we're a little bit left, a little bit low.
400.
Happy.
$300. Minimum
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. Retard.
God. Oh. Alright. Spoilers, reverse green, decel. Manual braking. There's 60 knots. Ooh, that was rough. I don't know, airplane feels a little bit different on that config 3. Alright guys, welcome to Real World Scenery, St. Louis Airport. Well, thought so. Damn it, man. Last time I did this, I even went back and made sure it was installed. And now we're looking at default. Alright, whatever. Alright. Run timer. Flaps up. Run our after landing checklist. So weather radar comes off, pick the wind shear off. Disarm the spoilers, flaps are retracted. TCAS to TA. Flight directors ILS come off. Constraints come off. VORs come off. Leave that on for a sec. Same on this side. Get the APU flap open. Flaps open. Alright. Well, glad we weren't trying to highlight St. Louis Airport because once again it didn't work. If you go, I think I did a stream Atlanta to St. Louis to show off the St. Louis Airport, and the same thing there. Thought it was installed and it's not. I'm gonna go check it again. Super frustrating. Now we got airplane down, landing on runway 11. There's no factor for this runway. Clear left, clear right. Got all the pretty lights on. Now it's been a little bit, we can turn the brake fans on. That dude's just flying the scenic route apparently. Now that we're clear of the runway, turn the lights off. Landing check, or correction. That's not the one we want. After landing checklist. Exterior lights are set. Flaps retracted. TCAS transponder standby. Engine mode selectors normal. Ground spoilers are disarmed. Radar and predictive wind shears off. After landing checklist is complete. So as y'all can see, it's definitely helpful to have another pilot who can do all that stuff while the pilot flying, or in a lot of places the captain, because usually the captain is the only one that will taxi. The pilot taxiing can focus on taxiing and navigating while the other pilot can clean up and handle all the other stuff. Alright, so there's 3 minutes. So we can shut down number 2. So yellow electric pump comes on. And confirm engine number 2. southern corner gate here. Jet bridge probably is not even going to connect very well. Kill the rest of the lights. Here we go. So I don't hear any PTU sounds. Okay. So parking brake is set. Shut down one. TA on the TCAS. Beacon off, seatbelt sign off, pumps come off. Should have turned the electric pump off before I shut down one. No biggie though. And I missed the strobe lights, as y'all just saw. Alright, parking checklist. Slides are disarmed, engines off, seatbelts off, exterior lights are set, ice protection's off, fuel pump's off, yellow electric pump is off, chalk signals received, parking brake is on. Parking checklist is complete. Well, a little bit of a bummer on the landing. One, it was super rough. Probably not going to land config 3 again, because we'll just blame it on that. It's config 3. Really, just my bad. I wasn't paying close attention to the GeForce. I noticed that the scenery was not what it was supposed to be, and I got a little distracted and slammed the son of a bitch on the ground. But anyways, so at least I was able to give y'all a review of the PACSIM Cleveland Airport. In my opinion, the $24 that it's worth, or that it's that it costs, I think is well worth it. If you're looking for a good medium to large size airport, has really nice interior modeling and some really cool places you could start off your flights, leaving from a hangar or something like that. I think Cleveland was very worth it, and I think PACSIM did a fantastic job. I think really for me the only con is the jet bridges. I wish the jet bridges were either custom or function better than they do. For some reason the jet bridges keep pulling, but I do want to go back and try maybe using either the built-in ground services in the sim or use the EFB. But I would imagine if the pushback toolbar, like even with using it and selecting like everything not leaving the airport or leaving the airplane, and the jet bridges are still pulling back on their own, then I would guess that neither the EFB or the built-in ground services will probably prevent that. Because typically the pushback toolbar usually works a little bit better than those. But yeah, so if anybody's looking for a nice large airport, I think Cleveland is by far worth it. And maybe tomorrow, if my buddy is not too busy, we'll do a shared cockpit out of Reno and take a look at the Reno airport as well, even though that one came out a little while ago. But after looking, and I haven't looked at that one yet, after looking at Cleveland today, I'm pretty excited to take a look at Reno and see how well the interior looks on there. So I do think they modeled the interior in Reno as well. So anyways, guys, anybody that comes and drops by to watch the playback, appreciate y'all checking it out, and hopefully you'll watch some of the stream, and if I earn your subscription, I hope that you'll subscribe and ding that notification bell. As I'm usually pretty busy between dispatching at work and then got a girlfriend, so it keeps me busy there. Sometimes it's pretty short notification that I can schedule a stream. I usually try to be as proactive and schedule as best that I can. So if you ding that notification bell, you'll be notified of all of my future streams. And if you like the stream, or if you learned anything from it, I hope that you smash the like button. And I'm trying to get some traction going on this channel and compete with the big dogs like Blue Games and XP and Captain Canada and all those guys. So again, thank you everybody, and until the next one, y'all have a good one.